If I had $1 for every time somebody told me that Nintendo was going to leave the hardware industry and go third party and just publish games, I could probably retire. I've been hearing that rhetoric for years and years and years now. And with the failures of the Wii U, it sort of made these doomsayers, these doom prophets sort of get on their high horse and say, we told you so, we told you so. They need to just make games for other platforms. And a lot of people like to, compare it to Sega, how Sega was a huge giant in the hardware industry that lost their way. And after the Dreamcast, they left the hardware industry, never to return. There will never be a Dreamcast 2. Stop talking about it like it's an actual thing. But nowadays, you have Mario and Sonic in games together, working together, hanging out, shaking hands and stuff. And for a kid born in the late 80s, that's just sacrilege to me. Mario and Sonic were, enemies. They hated each other. Sonic had blast processing. Sonic was cool. Mario wasn't cool as Sonic, or was Mario cooler than Sonic? And now to see them working together, it's just crazy, especially with the younger generation of gamers who grew up with that, and that's all they know is them being friends. So it's very interesting to think about things like that. But people seem to think Nintendo will be the next company to go the third-party route and leave the hardware industry. But what if I told you they're not? Because they're not. But what if I told you that another company actually already has, and now it's official, and it's not Nintendo, and it's not Microsoft, which is really weird because I personally think Microsoft is going to be the next, but it's Sony. Sony is actually going to be bringing games to the PC and Nintendo Switch. So I know you're thinking to yourself, RGT85, you lost it. You're talking crazy. This is a clickbait video. There's no facts in it, and you're an idiot. But you'd be wrong because there are facts in it, and Sony is publishing games onto the PC and Nintendo Switch now. But let me explain it because it's not, as clear cut as you would think. Yes, Sony's gaming division is very strong. You have the PS4 and the PS4 VR. The PS4 has been selling very well, and there's a ton of great games for it. I love my PS4, don't get me wrong. But Sony's has, different divisions within the company, and Sony Music is a separate division of Sony that is now getting into the video game publishing industry with a company called Untize. Now what Untize is basically for small studios who want to get their games out there, who are very talented but don't have the means to do it, to get their games on various platforms such as the PlayStation 4, such as the PC, and now the Nintendo Switch. So while it's not Sony's gaming division bringing these games to the Nintendo Switch, it is Sony. It all falls under the Sony umbrella. You can't, it's like saying, Nintendo's mobile games aren't, under the same umbrella as Nintendo's console games. Of course they are. It's just a different division of the company. So it's very interesting to talk about. Now there's a couple games that have been announced, but the most interesting one, and the one that has been announced for the Nintendo Switch, is a game called Tiny Metal. Now everyone's looking forward to Wargroove, which is coming from Nintendo, and I think spring 2018, which is sort of like the spiritual successor to Advance Wars, a series that I love and really miss. That and Battalion Wars. What are you doing, Nintendo? Bring those back. I like those games. Battalion Wars on the Wii was freaking awesome. Anyways, so essentially what this company is doing is they're publishing a game called Tiny Metal that is pretty much another spiritual successor to Advance Wars, but unlike Wargroove, which is coming out in 2018, this game comes out next month. I believe the date was November 17th, and it looks really good from what I've seen, and it looks like a really interesting title that I think will do really well on the Nintendo Switch. And what makes it even more interesting is that this is a Sony published game on a Nintendo platform in 2017. Like, what a huge turn of events that has happened lately. Like, you would think that if the Xbox One was doing as well as Microsoft wanted to, you would see Sony wanting to put their games on that platform. Like, why would you limit yourself? If there's money to be made, you might as well go out there and make it. But the fact that they chose the Nintendo Switch over the Xbox One, I think really speaks volumes to the future of gaming. The Nintendo Switch is a very interesting system. It's the first, hybrid system. Microsoft wants to work with Nintendo. We're seeing stuff like cross-platform play on Rocket League, which is going to be freaking insane. And, know, now you're seeing more and more games that are being announced with cross-platform play with the Xbox One. And Sony's been kind of against this cross-platform play, but you have to remember why. That's Sony's gaming division. Sony Music is completely different. It's a completely different entity still under the Sony umbrella, so they can do what they want. And what they want to do, obviously, is create this company called Unties, which, you know, gives smaller developers a voice, gives smaller developers a chance to get their product out there, and they chose the Nintendo Switch as their platform of choice, along with the PS4 and the PC. So yes, Nintendo is not the next company to go third party, and it wasn't Microsoft either, which is what I would have put my money on. No, it was Sony. It was Sony all along. How did we not see this coming, folks? How did we not see this coming? This is just a little interesting news story that I pretty much just wanted to talk about, because I never really thought I would see the news headline that Sony was publishing games for the Nintendo Switch. Are we gonna see stuff like Uncharted on the Nintendo Switch or The Last of Us? Well, probably not, but now you can never say with 100% certainty that you would never see this game, because those are first party, you know, PlayStation titles. If the window's open now, the door is cracked, and although it is Sony Music, it's still under the umbrella of Sony. So who's to say that you might not see Uncharted on there? I mean, probably not, let's face it. I highly doubt we'd ever see an Uncharted, but you can't just write it off completely. Probably Knack, though. You could probably see Knack on there, because nobody's buying Knack, and I really don't want Knack. Gran Turismo? Can I get some Gran Turismo? But seriously, you'll probably never see any, you know, main big Sony IPs on a Nintendo platform. But the fact that this even exists, the fact that, you know, Sony Music is expanding into the game publishing industry is very interesting, and it really speaks volumes about the success of the Nintendo Switch. Everyone wants a piece of this system. Microsoft with their cross-platform play, Sony now with Unties, you know, publishing games for the system. Everyone wants it on the Switch, and I really can't say I blame them. It's a fantastic console. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this. Let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments section down below. What games you would like to see, maybe smaller indie games that are available currently on Steam or something that maybe wouldn't get the same recognition that Unties could bring to a Nintendo platform. And thank you for checking out this video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that like button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT NA5, RGT NA5. RGT NA5, RGT NA5.